up my new mic. I got a new mic. Let me downmix it to mono so I'm not only in your left ear. Oh, brilliant. MXL 770. Got it for Christmas. Very nice. Yeah. Welcome to the chat. Charlie Ranger, Small Owl, Ultra Reaper 121. I don't know. I don't know what songs we're gonna break down. I have one open that I've been working on recently, which should be pretty cool. Why can I not see the live chat? Let me fix that. Welcome to the chat, Unokari Yuno. I don't know. Anyone have track suggestions? I have one open that I've been working on, so I could start with that. You're coming from Small Owl. Please say thank you, Small Owl. Okay, this is actually an unreleased track that I'm working on right now. It's a funky little tech core thing that uses Tanger snares. Because we love Tanger. She released a free sample pack with a bunch of snares in it, so I grabbed that. Let me know how the new mic sounds, or if it needs any adjustments. Hopefully, it should sound pretty good. I gotta get a new mic stand at some point. Anyways. I'm gonna skip this part and get into the main drop section. I really wanted to make some tech core stuff, so I made this. I sound great, thank you. I know. Thanks to this mic, most likely. Yeah. So I started this project file, just because I wanted to practice some bass design, because I'm not the best at bass design yet. And honestly, I think that's one thing that's kind of just been holding me back, in my music. So I started off just making this funky little bass in Vital based on a tutorial that I found. Let me turn off the processing. I can kind of go step by step. Vital has some really cool like modulation modes. I should buy a sound visualizer and go crazy. I wish I could see your whole message. There we go. Sound visualizer LEDs. That would be awesome. I got my funky little curtain of fairy lights back there. Anyways, this is using the random amp modulation setting, which is really cool. It kind of just like it just randomizes the amplitudes of stuff. That's about as best as I can explain it. When you modulate it really high, you get these like very cool kind of alien-y kind of noises, which I think is really neat. Yeah, so I'm just using this LFO here to modulate the random amp level. Let me turn off these effects too real quick. That's all it is by default. Which is pretty cool, but it's not very cool yet. It's just some distortion to kind of mix it with this white noise. It makes it very crunchy. Actually catching a Desuko live, that is correct. You have caught me. Phaser kind of makes it more like glunky. I don't know if that's how I would describe it. It's kind of like, I don't know. It really gets funky from this flanger, which I'm basically just like using as like a really short delay. kind of pretty neat. And just a multi-band compressor to bring out some of those bass sounds. This is just for like velocity and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that's about all I have to say. It also adjusts the filter, and some of the cutoff in this thing. And then for my effects chain on this thing, to make it crunchy, we just start with an EQ to bring out some of the mids, kind of like the little formant regions in it that make it kind of like talk. Kind of neat. This just gets rid of low end, so I can add my own kind of like sub bass sound and not have it be kind of messed up from the other thing. I have a patcher preset for disperser because I can't afford real disperser, so I have a patcher preset. It's really cold in my apartment. I'm gonna go grab a sweatshirt. Give me like 1 second. Okay, sweatshirt acquired. Yeah, so the disperser is a plugin that I've always wanted just because it's like really freaking cool in how it's able to like take a like, I don't know, sharp sounds and just kind of like make it more squishy. I'm going to use a lot of weird freaking words to describe this. Yeah, so this is literally just a patcher preset. Looks like it uses some filters in the same way that disperser does. That's actually a really neat way to do it. And you can adjust like the cutoff of all of them. Dripped out. I got the freaking Sans sweatshirt on. Look at me go. Let me go back to FL Studio so you can check out what's going on. Absolutely legendary disperser patcher preset. Then we have my own fat rack that I made. Virtual Riot has like an Ableton rack. It's the Wettener knob, exactly. ISO gets it. I have this fat rack that I made that was kind of inspired by Virtual Riots. Since I use FL Studio, not Ableton, I don't really have the ability to do racks, but I do have Patcher, and I'm gonna be honest, I like Patcher better than Ableton racks. So I just made this knob called Fatness. I don't know if it fattens things. We got a distortion in there, 2 OTTs, Fruity Blood Overdrive, and then because I'm usually using this on like basses where they have their own separate sub bass, I'm cutting the lower sub frequencies, and then giving it a little boost in the mid and taking down these harsh 3 kilohertz area, and then one more distortion to bring it all back together, and that is my fat rack. We have a delay. The delay's not really doing much. I don't know, it's a very short delay. This is kind of a neat trick. If you put a delay on something and you make it really, really tiny, so it almost like immediately delays it, and I set it to ping pong here, it kind of washes it out. It's almost like a little tiny reverb hit that makes it just like right before, after. Very, very, very interesting sound. I didn't want it to be too in the background though, because it is kind of a cool sound that I want it to be in the foreground. So just, yeah, the eliminate effect, exactly. Eliminate likes to do that. OTT, it makes it really crunchy. We have a little reverb. Is this even on? I don't think it's on. I can't, and it's on a little bit. This reverb's hardly fucking doing anything. Another EQ to bring out some high end. And then I'm just cutting the bass so it's not muddy. And then last but not least, I have Soothe 2, which I definitely paid for. To even things out. And that is that sound. Which is in this pattern. pretty neat. Just realized this sound has 4 EQs. Yeah, I have a really bad habit of being like, okay, I'm gonna adjust some of the EQ, and then I adjust the EQ. But it's like for each little tweak I made, I just add a new EQ. But then there's like some EQs that I want to be like post effects. Because you know how OTT can behave differently depending on if it has bass frequency coming into it versus when it doesn't. It does sound pretty cool, yeah. Having that many EQs and then also the EQs inside of the patcher presets is kind of unhinged. Yeah, and then to complement that bass, I also have a little stab bass. Where is it? It's almost like a psytrance bass. Really simple. Literally just a saw wave. I can't even. Oh, there's the upper layer. Okay. Yeah, so it's literally just a saw wave with a filter on it, with a little bit of resonance, so it's kind of like wow. On its own, that really doesn't mean much, but like this is all it sounds like without effects. It's kind of sucks, honestly. Yeah. I've been a big fan of this fake ass disperser patcher preset though. I've been using it all over the place. Oh, the wettener. It's so squishy. It's like slime. It's like slime. It's like I coated it in oil. It sounds so much more like organic, which I think is really neat. EQ to bring out some of the lows and then scoop some of the like mid area to leave room for the other sound. Camel Crusher, which I don't use as much as I should. Camel Crusher is a really freaking great distortion. Makes it thick. I also made this on mono. I think it's 2 mono personally, actually. I might adjust that. I don't know. I'll see how I feel about it. Okay. We have another EQ to boost there for some reason, I guess. I guess I just wanted some more of those lows. We have very slight amount of distortion to make it a little crunchier. Oh god. Jerry's gonna bully me for this one. That's a curve right there. Very cursed EQ curve. Scooping the mids to give space to the other sound. I guess I probably should keep it mono since it's kind of like sub bass. I could do some like multi-band processing. Whatever. It's fine. It sounds fine for now. For those of you who are just joining, here's what we're breaking down right now. Okay. Those are the main basses. I guess now we can check out some of the leads. Oh. Exactly. If it works and it sounds good, not a big deal. These are literally just like super saws. They're not all that special. The interesting part about these is more the rhythm. Because I was listening to a lot of techcore, like, kind of to get some inspiration to make these. And it's something that you see a lot, is these really freaking weird rhythms. Which does make it for really fun rhythm game maps, which I guess is kind of at the core of this genre. Like, lots of, like, offbeats and kind of like the syncopated, like, dut kind of rhythms going on. These are really simple super saws. This one has a pitch down at the end, so it almost sounds like a tape stop, which is pretty neat. Makes it a little more stabbier. Triple oscillator. What is on number 17? That's another bass. Yeah. So there's just another bass that I have in there. Very simple, thick saw bass. There's a sound designy thing that I did. Not much is too special about this one. Let's check it out though. We're starting with just like a saw wave with some unison and a little filter, making it go wow, wow, wow. That's what it starts as. We got our filter, hyper dimension to make it bigger, although it's doing a little bit. Distortion to make it thick, but when we distort it, we lose kind of some of our wow, wow, wowing. So I just added a flanger filter on there. Sounds pretty neat, and the cutoff is being modulated there. And then in our effects chain, we have some vocodecs. Oh yeah, also it's portamentos. So if it... Meow synth, kind of. I gotta use Meow synth more often. I was thinking of making a version of Meow Biscuit where every sound is Meow synth. Because I have a Meow Biscuit like D&B flip that I was gonna put on my next album, but it's kind of boring. I don't know. It's more like a live thing than it is a release thing. Anyways, OTT. We got the funny little fat rack again. Some EQ adjustments. Kind of puts it in the background more. It's more just kind of filling the mid, or I guess low mids in the actual thing. Yeah. Another EQ, and then reverb to push it into the background a little bit. Just makes the bass a little bit more interesting. Pretty neat. What else do we got going on here? We got some vocal chops. Why can I not hear it? Where are you at? It's going through the side chain. I gotta play it in the song, I guess. Milk vocal. Where are you? Oh, you're on number 33. There it is. This is actually kind of funny. This is the fresh vocal. Tanger's used this one a bunch. I'm pretty sure the original one was from Schwank. Schwank used it in a song called Fresh, and then Tanger made Fresher. Then there was Freshier, and it got out of control. And fresh vocals kind of a meme now. So I just put it into Slice X. Found some cool slices of it. Is this the fresher vote? I think it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. Fake delay here. That's just vocal chops. That's not all that interesting. What's on number 37? Pluck. Little arpeggio with dimension expander. I love dimension expander. Sometimes it can be kind of messy, but it adds a lot of space to sounds, which is pretty neat. This is kind of a main tech core part. Is this like phaser ARP? It's not the exact sound I was going for. I didn't like use any presets or anything. I was just trying to recreate it from hearing it. I almost have the sound that I was going for, but it's not quite there. Little phaser ARP with the flanger filter. What do we got going on here? Laser sound. Lasers are really easy. If you don't know how to make one, You take a saw, and then you automate the coarse pitch. Classic sound. Lots of detuning unison. Hell yeah. OTT, reverb to make it very spacey, and then EQ to clean it up. We already went over that. I don't think I ended up using this sound. This is just like a little sub bass, which I left turned off because then I just ended up using this guy as the sub. Yeah. And that's about all of the melodic elements of this part, and everything else is more just... I guess there's some atmosphere stuff down here. This one is actually pretty neat. Phase Plant is nice because it has like a granular mode. So what I did is in Phase Plant, I made just a little sine pluck and then bit crushed it, and then resampled that into the granular part of it. Let me see if I can find the rendered out version of that little pluck. There it is. Yeah, so I just took... That was loud. I just took that and then resampled it into Phase Plant's granular mode. So then I could play it with longer notes. I don't know, it just has a little bit more texture than it would be if it was just a normal sine pluck. Pretty neat. This is funny. I got this idea from Tanger. It's really cool. If you take any like pad and you put it in a sampler and use the porta and mono mode in the sampler and then like have it slide around. Seeing that trick kind of like made me rethink the way that I use pads. So yeah. Very, very, very cool kind of thing going on there. To make that a little bit more interesting, there's a bunch of effects on there. First of all, it's just kind of pushing it to the back a little bit more, with crystallizer and reverb and whatnot. It kind of washes it out, makes it very echoey and reverby. Crystallizer is neat because it's almost like it's a very weird kind of delay. It's like a granular delay. It kind of like wheel, you know? It does one of those, which is pretty neat. We got an effector to bit crush it. And of course, the coolest part is D-Blue Glitch, which basically it has a bunch of different effects. And it kind of loops through them. And I currently just have them all set to random. Which is kind of neat, because then every time I export the song, the background atmosphere is a little bit different. It's kind of neat. It's both rhythmic and also atmospheric, which is very cool. Yeah. Melodic stuff. And here's all the drums and whatnot. Big kick. Thick kick. The rhythmic aspects of techcore is honestly kind of what makes it, I don't know. It's the rhythmic aspects of techcore is what makes it so interesting to listen to. Obviously, the melodic stuff is also very cool, and like the going back and forth between the rhythmic and melodic elements is really neat. But these just bizarre rhythms, it's all over the place, and I think it works really well. Very cool. That's all I have to say about the drums. It's just very cool. Bunch of risers and downlifters. It's not all that interesting. Hi-hat. We have an open hi-hat. Little crash. Classic 909 crash. I love it. generic female vocal occurring there. Yeah. Starting the second part, we just bring in this little rap vocal, and this is something that Camellia likes to do a lot, is just bringing in groovy little rap vocals. They almost work as like a rhythmic element in the music more than they do like actually a melodic or like lyrical element, which is pretty neat. This part's funny. I'll be coming.
I'll be coming up hot for a minute. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. I drop the top when I'm in it. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. 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 Drop when I'm
Yeah. So this just kind of works as a build up into the next section. And the kicks get crazy. We have a bunch of like kick rolls going on here. Neat little thing I'm doing here is literally just fully cutting the entire sidechain group. So that's all of my cymbals, all of my melodic stuff. Yeah. Sounds so sick. It just gives you kind of like a little break. I might put some like samples or basses in between there to fill it out more. Tanger always uses the like fish moaning sound, the puffer fish, where he's like, ugh, you know? I can put that in there. Yeah. In the actual thing, in like the melody part, I'm literally just going up chromatically, which kind of it gets away from the kind of like tonal center of it, but it just like, I don't know, it's a nice little rise instead of just speeding things up. Adding like pitch variation in build-up elements definitely makes it have a lot more tension. It's just a vibe here. We've added this little melody line that goes over top of all of the crazy rhythmic bass elements. Why can't I hear it? What is going on? Let's solo that. If I can find it. I got a lot of stuff going on in here. Somewhere in here. There they are. Lots of layers make this lead very large. We got this one, which is just a square and a saw wave with sync on it. And then some effects, some processing, OTT. We got delay to kind of make it more spaced out. The OTT goes on it, I'm pretty sure, after there's already a reverb in the effect, which usually you don't want to do because it can create some artifacts, but I really liked how like thick the reverb tail is. We have this one, which might sound like a normal super saw, but if you look at the unison in detune, you can actually see that there's no unison in detune. So it's like, what? How is it so thick? Well, the way that I'm doing this is I'm using the chaos oscillators, which are, I don't know, I guess they're not really that well known in Serum, but basically it's just a random signal, and I put the rate all the way up, and I'm using that to go onto my effects. So I'm using that on the pitch of my saw, so it's kind of just wobbling around like crazy. So instead of having multiple saws all intermingled as one, phasing and stuff all over the place, You can kind of hear it, how it wiggles around. I just have 3, all with the different coarse pitch adjustments. And then with the white noise. This sound works good for leads or for chords. What do we got here? Here's our more like traditional super saw. A lot of the time when I'm doing anything with like super saws, whether it's super saw leads or super saw chords, I kind of want 2 layers. So I want my main kind of like saw layer that's just gonna be like a heavily distorted saw wave, to kind of get our fundamental pitch and some of that like grittiness that we want from the saw. And then also I have my higher layer, which is, it's just my I don't know, it makes it more spacious, and we get more of the we get more of that like high-end buzziness and like noise. And then one final thing, you can never have enough layers on lead sounds, so this is just a funky little pluck. I'm pretty sure this is actually a Snail's House preset. Yeah. It's one of these Snail's House presets. I don't know which one, but yeah. So we got all those layers contributing to our lead. Whoop. Yeah, so that's the... Oh, actually, no, there's 2 things that are added here. We have our lead, and then we have this horrendous MIDI pattern, which is a Steinway piano from the Flex Pianos library. And these, the default Flex pianos are actually, like, they're pretty good, especially with some effects on them. These are kind of just the general effects I tend to use on pianos. That's what it is by default. It's just kind of doing arpeggios on the chords in 2 octaves, and then I just lengthen the notes so that they're kind of drawn out more, and it almost sounds like the pianist has the sustain pedal held down. So I put Effector on it with the lo-fi preset, which is just a bit crusher. It makes it a little more ringy. It's like a bell sound, kind of. Fruity Panomatic pans the sound left and right, so as it's going, it's kind of like going back and forth. Which is pretty neat. I have a phaser and a crystallizer on here that aren't doing anything currently, but I use them as transition effects. Not here, but later in the track. And that's our little melodic segment that we go into from our rhythmic bass section. My computer's lagging a little bit. Ah! I don't know why the FL volume knobs are so touchy. Freaking sick. Yeah. It's pretty neat. So the chord progression during this segment changed a little bit. And it goes down and it kind of builds up into this yeah. What are my lights doing? They are freaking out back there. Oh my god. Oh, they're back to normal now. I guess what would that chord be? I think it goes. It's a major with yeah. So E major minor 7, which has a lot of tension in it. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm playing it on my piano. It's kind of like, you know, you got like just it's like an orchestral kind of feeling almost, like all this tension building up. And then we still have all that tension, but then we also add some rhythmic tension with these very strange kick patterns that are just kind of in your face, just all these little punches, which is something I really like doing. It's such a neat kind of like ending to a big section, because if I just went right into the breakdown, it'd be too boring. So I just took that. I just took that chord, and we're just hitting it on the kick. I did not put the side chain here. I don't remember if I did that on purpose or on accident. I'm assuming I did it on accident. It goes up a little half step and then back down, and has even more tension to it. I can't talk. It's difficult to describe musical things with words because it's more of just like a feeling, and I hope that kind of comes through in this. We have an extra beat right here that's just kind of like, instead of being dun dun right into it, it just has a little boom ding, which is it's a cool little fill, and it kind of catches you off guard, which I think is neat. Oh god. Yeah. And then we're right back into another little build up during this breakdown, which is literally just an 808 snare, which it sounds so cheesy. It's like, what the hell is this? Is this like 2015 Trap Nation? Am I about to turn down for what? Are you fucking kidding me right now? But it works well as a little riser. It just pitches up over time, and it just kind of keeps the track moving after the breakdown. It's like, this is kind of boring, but it's like, ooh, we're going somewhere with that. This drop was so fun. It was so late at night. Like, I basically speed ran this song. I finished it, I say in quotes. I'm going to keep working on it. But I got the main idea of the entire track done just in one sitting. Hadn't worked on music in a while. I just got back to school, and I was like, hey, you know what? Frick it. I'm just gonna work on music. So I ended up with this, and it was like 2 a.m, and I was making this next drop, and it's a little unhinged. Completely different vibe from the rest of the song. I'll just play it.
I'm gonna get back when I feel like.
Oh my god. Oh, absolutely disgusting hardcore, like, Shranz techno thing comes out of nowhere. We got this, like, goofy-ass reverb kick. It's so cool. By default, that's all it is. The way I added this little tail to it, it's really gross. This... Oh, it has, like, a little click in it. It's like, ugh. It's kind of fucked up. But literally the way I got that is I just took the kick, which you can kind of see the leftovers of the effects there. On which channel? On channel 56. Let me put it down to channel 56 so you can hear what I did. Yeah, so I just coated it in reverb and put some OTT on it. And then I rendered that out. And then we ended up with this. So let me make this unique so I can show how I adjusted it to make a Shranz kick. So the full thing is just the whole reverb tail, but it's stretched a little bit, and I turned down the length, but because it's on stretch mode, it, like, I don't know, it gets a little funky, and we can still... It just stretches it. Yeah. So it's kind of stretched and pitched down. And it just kind of adds this swell to the kick that you wouldn't otherwise get. Like, without it, it's kind of boring. But the moment we add this tail, oh, it's so like gritty and like industrial. Hard techno shrans, I believe, is the genre. I have a little volume automation here that I guess I could probably. Yeah, it's kind of like a. It makes it rumble a little bit more. So we got the boom ticka boom ticka boom ticka boom. It kind of has like that kind of feel to it. It like sweeps up a little bit more. So sick. and those are getting distorted together. Makes it even larger. Another big part of this kind of Shrans genre. Oh, it's just those metallic hi-hats. It's like I'm in a freaking like factory. It's like I'm a steel worker in the 1940s. And I'm having a rave. Very like classic techno sound, but it's kind of almost given this more like modern feel in the context of this song with like the extra processing and distortion. Yeah, aside from the kick, there's also a bunch of hi-hats. These have an auto pan on them, so they go back and forth just like the piano did earlier. A crash on the offbeats. And then just a hi-hat to give it some more rhythmic flow. Double time on the hi-hat. As well as effects. I still got that little bell sound going just for atmosphere. You kind of feel it more than you hear it in this part. As well as this. Just so you can still kind of feel where the key of the song is. And then I just have the sound from earlier on there again. It sounds pretty cool without the sound, but I added it, and it's just like it's disgusting. My computer is lagging so much, I just cannot play this part, but you're just gonna have to trust me when I say it sounds freaking sick. It's like this build-up where we just basically throw the time signature out of the window, and the kick is just like it just builds up into the next section. We're using a glass break, which is just so neat. It's so like destructive and industrial. It has a lot more crunch and impact than a crash would, which I'm a big fan of. And then we have this crazy riser sound that I made in Serum, that really makes this little section cool. So yeah, we're making our detune go up over time, as well as some effects. I have hyper, so it's getting really washed out and really huge. We have a phaser that's making it all warbly, and some reverb on there that washes it out even more. Such a cool riser. And that leads us into our next section, where I completely cut the sidechain on this little section once again, so it kind of breathes and has some impact. And then we get this crazy kick. It's hard. You could hardly even call that a kick. It's just like, I'm really happy with how this part turned out. Oh, it's so distorted and gross. And without all the effects, it's so wimpy. Just yeah. So I'm basically just pitching down a sine wave there. That's literally all it is. Is the sine wave goes and it has an extra little little punch on it so that it kind of clicks at the beginning and you get the transient that you would want from a kick. And then some noise, which kind of comes in almost as like a tail to the kick, which sounds kind of ridiculous at first, but once you get these effects on it, oh, the noise like merges itself with the low note. We're compressing it. And once the kick gets its initial transient in, we're also just spacing it out. It gets huge with the hyper and distortion on there. Oh my goodness, the hyper and dimension, I mean. And that's pretty neat all on its own, but where it really kind of gets the groove going is this sound. Which is once again a very simple sound. It's just a laser sound, but instead of going pew, it goes whoop. So it's almost like this little like riser hype layer that kind of sits on top of everything and just keeps it going. And over time, the detune on this and it adds a phaser, and it just kind of gets more spacious and washed out as the section goes on, which kind of helps it almost act like a riser. Using a crash to layer on the kick, so it has a lot of impact to it. I got kind of lazy during this part because I didn't exactly know what kind of section I wanted to do after these crazy parts. So I just got a kick by Reek, who, if you don't know, is a very talented rhythm game music. The hell is this? Sorry, I don't know. I got distracted by that. Who's a very talented rhythm game producer. He makes some crazy full flavor music. If you haven't listened to his stuff, I highly recommend going and checking it out. But this was from a sample pack that he was on. Am I mic clipping? My mic is clipping a little bit. That's okay. Well, it's not okay. I turned down the volume. Anyways, he was on the Exabolt sample pack. That's what it is. I'm pretty sure this kit was free. Insane kicks. Yeah, so I used one of those here. Whoop. It goes double time. We got also a noise that Reek made. To keep the hype up. And then it's the same riser as in this build-up section, but it's just stretched out to be a full bar instead. And that is the hardcore section. Yeah, let me go back into our build-up, and then the second, or I guess the final drop, is about the same as the first drop. If there's anyone who's just joining, here's what the first drop sounds like. Yeah, so our final drop is pretty similar, although I did do a little fake out kind of thing here, where we actually go into psytrance instead. I'm not completely done with this section. I think I want to make it a little more psytrancey and more like spacey. Yeah. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Drop the top when I'm in it. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Yeah. So I swapped out the kick for this like really big, really clean psytrance kick. And it's a very lasery transient, and the tail is just this giant bump of bass, which is very cool. It almost has like a bleep, bleep, bleep kind of feel to it. This part's really simple. We have a little vocal sample that I also used over there in the build-up. It's just
Focus and concentration. The person can concentrate intensely on a specific.
it just adds some atmosphere. I don't even know what the hell is she saying. Focus and concentration, I guess.
Focus and concentration.
Yeah. So we stick with the psytrance for a bit. Our atmospheric elements come back in, and then our main elements get filtered back in again. But we stay now with the psychic. This was something that I was going back and forth on for a while, because this was the kick I was using for basically everything before, which is pretty good. But the deepness in that like lasery transient just sounds so sick. Yeah, so you can see here I deactivated a lot of the kick there. Whoop, I'm wiggling it around. I did not mean to do that. Which is pretty neat. Although I got kind of lazy. I didn't want to replace all of these kicks. So the way that I get out of it is just in the next build up, we go to a different drum beat. We bring our snare right back in, and then we kind of have this drum and bass kind of pattern going on. It's almost kind of like sloppy, if that makes sense. It's kind of like an almond break almost, in terms of like the pattern. And besides that, we're just putting our same melody as before. It sounds kind of complicated, this melody, but really the main thing that kind of makes it sound like that is these I guess they're not really ghost notes, but they kind of they make it pitch down a bit. Like without it sounds kind of silly. Right? It just kind of pitches it down, and it makes it sound like there's more notes than it is. So those are just on like the root of the current chord. I want that impact to be a little bit more little bit stronger. I might cut our side chain group there, actually. Let's see what that sounds like. We need a half a beat. There we go. That could work. I also have this one. Maybe this one might work better. That works. I want this crash to be a little louder. Oh, I guess, that's a small issue. Let's make this unique. And then we can move this. So it's actually, there we go. That should help. That works. We just need some more, like, build up. Whoop. I had a double kick there on accident. Oh, perfect. That works. Let's let our glass break. There we go. That makes that swell a little bit cooler. That's kind of neat. Let me get that funky kick from earlier. We're just gonna put one of those. There we go. Okay, maybe not that. So there's the breakdown of currently untitled techcore song that I've been working on for a while. I'm not gonna play the full thing, but I will play. I will play the drop one more time, and also this funky little part over here.
I'm gonna get back when I feel like.
Lag my computer all over the place. Yeah, there's the untitled techcore thing. If anyone in the chat has suggestions for which song you would like me to do a breakdown of, please let me know. And if I don't get one in a few minutes, then I'll do something else. I'll do a different song. This would make a dope Geometry Dash level. I have some terrific news for you. I have been working on an album. As with most of my albums, it's geared towards rhythm game music, just like Interdimensional Ice Cream Parlor was. So I really do hope to see some cool maps of my music in rhythm games like Geometry Dash. I haven't played that much Geometry Dash. I used to play it a lot when I was younger. I like bought it and I had custom levels. I wasn't that good at it, but fun game. I've broken down Floating on Clouds so many times now. What other tracks are in my library that are cool? With You. I can check out With You. I gotta find it first though. Let me play it as the background music so you can hear what it sounds like. I really like this one. That's a good suggestion. I've been focusing a lot on rhythm game music recently. So I haven't done that much Kawaii Future Bass. But this one's a vibe. It's a vibe. Let me find it. Also, Matt, shout out Matthew William, who has an album, I believe. It's an album, right? Not an EP? I don't know. Matt has an album coming out soon. Secret Prelude. If you upload to Newgrounds, they can be used in GD. I have some of them uploaded to Newgrounds. Let me see if I can find. I cannot find the With You project file. Here, you guys want to see my my music folder? Want to be traumatized by the amount of stuff in my music folder? Look at that! Oh my goodness, there's so much going on in here. It goes on forever. Album with 14 songs. Hell yeah! That's my favorite type of albums, are the ones that are like over 7 songs, so you can do like 2 discs. So cool. With You. I found Without You. That's not what I'm looking for. Oh, there we go. Here it is. I think this is the most recent version. Let's open it in FL. stops responding, I will be so upset. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh. Oh. Oh, that one hurt. Okay. My FL Studio's been having an issue where whenever it does save the project properly, but it's like whenever I quit it just like stops responding, which is a little concerning. Hopefully nothing gets corrupted, but oh, there we go. Look at that. I got my lyrics in the project file. Also, for channel members, I will have these project files available for download after this stream, so you may check them out if you want. At least for With You. I don't know about the unreleased one yet. I might have to wait on that one. That's not a volume slider. There we go. I hired a translator to translate this because I wanted to put the lyrics. u/Kakubin on Reddit translated this for me. Welcome to the chat, social media megaphone. That is a wonderful username. There we go. Oh my goodness. I will say, Matt, thank you for the suggestion. It is refreshing to be back in a Kawaii Future Bass project file after I've been so long working on rhythm game music. Yeah. So here's the main loop. It is a Melk vocal loop. It's funny because when I was working on this song, I think I sent a work in progress to Matthew William in the chat. And he thought that I was collaborating with Melk, which unfortunately, no, is not the case. It is just a vocal sample. Yeah, so that's kind of our main vocal sample. Oh my goodness, it's so much less cluttered than all the other project files I've been working on. Let's check out our intro. We kind of have these chords that stay the same. That's a cute sound. Let's see, what do we start with? Oh, it's so cute. Oh my goodness, we're using Fruity LSD. This is a plugin that Porter Robinson likes a lot. It has a bunch of like classic electric, I don't know, like synthesizer sounds, like MIDI synth sounds. It's so cute. It is, oh my gosh. Electric piano bright. And we're using just the built-in FL Studio arpeggiator to arpeggiate these chords. Very, oh, it sounds so cute. Very traditional Kawaii Future bass chord progression. Yeah. That's the 90% of Kawaii Future bass songs use that chord progression. So here it is in F sharp. And for effects, let's check them out. We'll go one by one. The main sound is this effector, which is I just use it as a bit crusher. I like the way the bit crusher sounds, and I like the interface. This is a built-in FL Studio plugin. Yeah, very comfy. And then I'm using some EQ to just roll off the low end to leave some space for elements later. Ozone Imager is a very good plugin for mixing stuff because this sound by default, because it's from Fruity LSD, is from like an old Roland keyboard or something, so it's mono. But using Ozone Imager, I can basically stereoize it and make it very wide, which is nice. And that sounds pretty good. And then we just have some reverb, which is not doing anything currently, but it gets real wet later. Yeah. And then we also have this one. which is another piano. That's just from Fruity LSD as well. We got some reverb, an EQ to bandpass it, and we're bringing out the bass in that one a lot, it looks like. Which is pretty neat. Yeah. And then we just have some impacts down here. These are from the Nurture sample pack, which Porter Robinson released. Very, very good sample pack. I like these low, rumbly impacts. They add so much, like, presence to intros and, like, outros and stuff. This one has a lot of character, too. I always catch myself just using, like, standard white noise sweeps, and they're always so boring. So I do try to use some more engaging ones like this. Yeah. Okay, and then we have some more sounds here. Serum. That's cute. It's just a saw. It's almost a super saw, I guess. Filtered saw chord sound. And the sync of it goes up over time, which I guess gives it some evolution, so it's not just the same thing over and over again. I'm not sure what this... Is this linked to anything? Master tuning. I don't think it's doing anything. Okay. I see what I was going for there. Looks like originally I had this set up so that it would pitch into it. I like this chord progression. It's very, like, melancholic. It sounds like it's the standard Kawai Future bass chord progression, but I guess the extensions that I used make it a little more melancholic, which is very nice. This is a pretty cool trick that I can show off. So if you have a vocal sample, cool thing that you can do if you want to generate a real quick, like, ambience that you can use is you can open it in Audio Editor, which is Control-E, and it'll open it in Edison, which is FL Studio's built-in audio editor. And then this little water droplet button is the blur button. And basically, it, like, adds a bunch of reverb, and you can like, blur a sound. So if I click accept, we kind of get, like, the essence of the sound, which is pretty cool sounding. Water break, stay hydrated, kids. Yeah. Sounds a little messy if you have, like, a lot of different notes in the thing that you're blurring, but it works very well for little risers almost. Yeah, so that works really well as a riser to lead us into our little verse section. This is just like a reverse delay tail. Basically, I put delay on it and then exported that part out and then reversed it. For those of you who've been around the Dasuko channel for a while, you might recognize this as, in fact, a sound from Bubble Tea by Dark Cat, which is pretty cute. I really like it. It's like it works well as like a little downlifter and adds some atmosphere. And then we just have this sub drop, which is kind of my, I guess, signature sub drop, I would say, because I tend to use it a lot. Instead of being just directly a like it starts at boom, it kind of builds up into it, so it goes wing. It's almost like it's like revving an engine, which sounds really cool. And also so that so that some lower end sound systems can hear it. If you add a slight amount of noise and then distort it, it kind of gets more of the little overtones in it, these upper frequencies that you wouldn't normally get if it was just a pure sine wave. popcorn. I called this one popcorn. Because it sounds like a sound on my electric piano. It's called popcorn. Let me see if I can find it. Probably won't be able to find it. I don't know. It's worth a shot. You know what? We're finding the popcorn sound. It's a pretty standard, just like MIDI sound that a lot of MIDI keyboards have had for like decades. Where is it? So many sounds on here. Okay. We're in the organs, harmonica, guitar. Get that past the guitars. We're in the basses now. Strings. Oh my goodness, there's so many sounds. Okay. Trumpets. Oh, there we go. Not that one. That's almost it. Anyways, yeah, popcorn sound. Classic MIDI synth sound. And then also it's just kind of like ear candy in the background, I guess. It adds some interest to it. Then we also have some strings, which do this little trill. Hot buttered popcorn. You know it. I wonder if it's in the general MIDI library here, actually. Doesn't look like it. Maybe I'm just like hallucinating it. If anyone else remembers seeing a sound labeled popcorn on a keyboard they had, let me know. Yeah, so there's just some ear candy there. Vocal processing is very simple. I made a rack for it, just like I made that fat rack. That's a sentence. I should have worded that better. That's the song that the preset comes from. Really, I gotta research this now. Yes, that is the sound I was looking for. I'm not gonna play it so I don't get copyright striked. But yeah, that is that's the sound I'm talking about. That's interesting. I got a little lesson of in the history of a synth sound, which is pretty neat. Thank you, Ghost Production. That's very interesting. All right. Vocal processing. I got a bunch of effects on here. It's kind of cluttered in this effect, so I guess I can just kind of look at them here. We just have distortion, OTT, some chorus, which I'm not using. Sometimes I like to use chorus to kind of just mix it into the mix better, if that makes sense. It's a little more like, I don't know, and not really washed out, but it's like softer with chorus. Add some width to it. Even just reverb and delay. So without it, yeah. There's that. Not much interesting with the vocal processing. Okay, and then we get into our build-up. What is this one? Little ride sound. We added some extra sounds. We have this Yamaha C7 piano from the Flex library. Effects that I like to do on pianos a lot of the time, if I really want to have like a bright piano sound for Kawaii Future Bass, I use OTT. The over-compressed piano sound is just so cool. We got a little bit of reverb and some EQ. Usually I would high pass this a bit more. Like, that's a pretty good piano sound in my opinion. Something I do now a lot, actually, is I take down the release. It's so, like, choppy and kind of stuttery. What does that sound like in this context? Yeah, maybe not for this song, but in some songs, taking down the release of the piano can sound really cool. So I'm kind of just doing this Jersey club type rhythm here, this doom 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 doom, which adds a lot of kind of like tension to the build-up. And a tip, if you want to make your pianos sound more human, what you can do is if you go up to the little wrench and do randomize, you can randomize the panning and the velocity. So then each note will kind of be widened a little bit separately and have a different volume to it. Because obviously, if I'm playing piano, I'm not going to be hitting every single note with the same, like, force. So that kind of helps, it helps it sound a little more human. And then we also have this sound. Ooh, I like that one. I don't know where the heck I got this preset from. It looks like it's actually a Serum default preset. It's just called Layer Something with This for Vibe. That's a cute little sound. I like that one. I didn't make this. This is just a preset. It definitely adds vibe. Cute. Okay. I made this song a while ago, so I don't entirely remember the full thing. Let's check out our melody here. What layers do we got going on here? Oh, I just love this sound so much. When I got my microKORG, and just the vibrato, like, sine and square lead was one of the first things that I programmed into it, because it's such a cool sound, and it's really simple to make. Literally just, we have a sine wave, and it has some portamento on it, and vibrato, so I just have an LFO that goes up and down, and that's on the master tuning, so it just makes the whole thing wobbly. And I also added a square here. It's such a cute sound. And one thing that really helps it kind of sound cute is these little grace notes. So it's just a little note that you put before the other note, and I don't know, it gives it a little more, like, oomph to that note. That's kind of boring, but then once we add the grace note, yeah, so those are all over the place. Another thing that I do sometimes is if you add really tiny notes on a portamento lead, it'll kind of make it like vibrato, which is kind of neat. That's another cool trick. Very cute. And then some other layers we have. Kind of like a little wow saw lead. It's in the background a little bit more, just with reverb and delay. But it's literally just a saw wave with a filter on it that kind of modulates up and down, so it goes wow, wow, and it talks a little bit. And the detuning does that as well. It gives it some atmosphere and fills kind of that mid-range that the other sound doesn't quite have. Then one more thing, we just have a really simple chiptune lead. If I made the song today, I might have actually done that on my actual Game Boy, because I have that now. Good melody, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, reverb modulates up here to help transition us into the next section. That's all about what's going on in this main little part. I don't know, in terms of drums, we got a shaker, little hi-hat loop. Ooh, that kick is dirty. What the heck? It gets kind of like, it has some little going on there. It's a little like fartish. That's funny. It's from the distortion. I like that. I haven't checked out this project file in a while. I should go back and look at some of my project files more often. Yeah. What is this little sound? Ooh. That's strange. That is a weird sound, but I'm using a pitch bend on it to help us rise into the next section. It's very bubbly. This whole song has a lot of very bubbly sounds. Like we got that going on. Yeah. Okay. Something I like to do with these like Kawaii Future bass songs, I've done this in a few other songs, like Floating on Clouds, notably, is like the first one where I did that. Is where I have a little kind of build up that leads into a little fake out, and then it builds back up again. Our vocal comes back in here. I'll play that part. And then we get into our real build up. Okay, I'm not playing the drop yet because I still am gonna share this build up, where I'm just filter sweeping in the chords. Or where is this at? Maybe I'm lying to you guys. It's on. Oh, it's on the lead. I am lying to you guys. There we go. We filter in the lead. So I teased the lead earlier, but now we're teasing it a little more because we have the lead in the drop during the second part, of course, but I don't know, we're kind of teasing it in the build up to bring some hype to it. That's a good little snare roll. Just using the high quality funk kit from from FPC, which is a built-in FL Studio plugin. It's very nice. Pretty neat. That big downlifter again. The way I do sidechain, some people find it kind of cursed. This sidechain is horrendous. Why did I do that? I don't even know what to say about this one. That's awful. Is OTT your go-to for squashing pianos? Yeah. I use OTT and taking down the release. I do a lot with pianos, honestly. Sorry, I'm so distracted by this sidechain. I don't know why I did it like that. Because usually I would do it like this. Oh, you know what? I kind of... Eh. It sounds better with the really cursed curve, because the whole point of sidechain compression is that you're automating the volume of everything else to get it out of the way of the kick. but I blatantly just have it playing during the transient. That is so weird. But it does kind of pump it a little bit. Okay, Pass Dasuko. We can go with that, I guess. That's funny. Okay. Our build up. We've stretched out our thing, and now we're switching to the build up vocal. Yeah, and then we are really bringing out this descending chromatic thing. It's the Kawaii Future bass chord progression. Of course, you have the weird chromatic little. You gotta have it. Let's check out the layers of this super saw. Okay. These are a little outdated. I would do my super saw layers a bit differently here if it was me now, but these are still valid. When you make super saws, a lot of the time someone, they'll just take a serum and you're just gonna turn up your unison. Maybe you add a higher octave, and then you're like, okay, there's my super saw, I'm done. Which is good, but it can get better, and that is why you should use different patches with different variations of super saws for your different frequency ranges, because then you'll get a cleaner mix, and it just adds more character to the chords. So yeah, our first one is just a normal super saw, but it is distorted and filtered, so we kind of get a lot of crunch in like the low mid area. Personally now I think it's a little too much, but it still sounds okay. Then we have our high layer. I just have a little bit of OTT on these, not at full depth, just at like 20-30%. So then this one is responsible for the high area. And I can even mix them a little bit differently. Like I currently have the higher one a little bit wider and the lower one a little bit lower. What do we got here? So this layer just kind of adds character to it. It's just a, little, almost like a square. It adds some more like the mid-high area. And then we got our basses. We got a crunchy one. And an even crunchier one. Okay. So we're using sausage enlargener, which is definitely not the proper plugin. It's a knockoff sausage fattener, which is pretty neat. It does a similar thing. We're just using some distortion and compression in it. It enlarges your sausage. That's a phrase. We just got this big saw bass, and honestly, a lot of the grittiness of the super saw, you would think it would be kind of like that high end, normal super saw sound, but adding this low thing with that it's not really, it's more like something you feel than you hear. It just adds a lot of that extra like oomph to the sound, which is really nice. Okay, I've been waffling around with super saws for enough now. You can hear the drop now. There's our main drop. Yeah, so there's those super saws that I had before. we're getting a lot more bass layers too. So I can go through those. We have our sub bass. Let me just loop this part. Pretty good sub bass. Is that really? Okay, no, it's number 18 is what we're looking for. We just have a sine wave with some noise, and the noise, when we distort it into it, it helps our sub bass get heard better on other sound, like lower quality sound systems or sound systems that have less bass. Our same saw bass from before, and this is just isolated, just the distorted noise from the sub, which I am widening. So it kind of creates the impression that our bass is wide without it actually being wide, because if it was wide, then we would have phasing issues, and that's no fun. And then a freaking very thick saw. It's just crushing our entire frequency spectrum. There's a lot of grit to it. Yeah, and then we got our piano doing the thing that it was doing before. Very nice. And let's check out our drums. Lots of drum layers. We got our kick, same as before. Our snare is a mix of a bunch of snares. We have a ride on our snare, which adds a little bit of sizzle to it. This might be my favorite snare of all time. It is Virtual Riot Drum Snare Flashy from Heavy Bass Design Volume 2. I use it probably more than I should. It has a good punch. It's a little, like, tonal. Very nice. Good snare. Then we have a little clap. Kind of a clap. It's just adding some extra rhythmic stuff to our snare. Percussion loops. Then we have another clap. Cool thing that this clap is doing is if I zoom in, you can see that the clap is slightly offbeat. So it's almost like a flam. Like when you play like a snare drum, if you kind of hit it at the same time with both hands, but you offset it slightly, and it kind of has this like stuttered effect. Versus if it was like on the beat versus off. It kind of like crunches in. It's like someone eating a chip. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm gonna be real with you. Yeah, that's about it for our drum layers. Let's check out the vocal layers. Our main vocal layer is just using the vocal rack. We have an extra vocal layer that is kind of just boosting our like lower main frequencies of the song. Yeah. It's a good layer. I'm kind of treating the vocal in the similar way as I did the super saw. Like if you kind of look at it, I have one layer that's responsible for the lower part of the sound, and then I have one layer that's responsible for the higher part of the voice. And then together, whoop, and yeah, kind of cool. And one of them is wider than the other, so it kind of fills our stereo field with the vocal. This one's cool. I'm using Kilohertz Ensemble, which is this really cool chorus effect. You can kind of see by the graphic there that they kind of wander around in the stereo field, which produces a really neat sound. Got a chorus on it. What's making it pitched like that? Stretch Pro mode in FL Studio is pretty neat because it stretches it, but it also has this little formant thing, so we can kind of mess with the formant of the sound. So it's almost like we've created an extra backup singer out of our original singer that just adds more like layers to the vocal and makes it a little more full. Kind of neat. Yeah. All right. So then we go back to our main melody for the second half of the drop, and I've just added an extra layer, extra little saw sound, which just fills out our lead a little bit more and establishes it as being a main sound a little bit more in the mix. And then we got a chant in there. I love this chant. I use this chant in like every single song. This is not what it sounds like by default. It's literally just this. a little bit slower. It's like this like trap chant. But I pitch it up, make it shorter. Now it's a little cuter. It sounds like little children cheering or something. So there's that. Adds a nice sound to it. little drum fill there. Little callback to the vocal with a version of it that's just reverbed out. Yeah. What is making that sound? Wait. Oh, I moved it over by accident. That guitar breakdown. This part's all about the same. Our build up again. What changes here? Now we just have a little solo. I'm pretty sure either I recorded this on this piano or I like recorded it and then edited it or just like transcribed it. I like playing solos kind of live as I'm recording the songs, but I don't know. I can't always get the same level of accuracy that you can get by just sequencing it. So I'm pretty sure I recorded this and then quantized it and like traced over it kind of. I like this part. It's like a callback to Floating on Clouds, which is kind of, I guess if I were to serialize my songs, Floating on Clouds, With You, kind of the kawaii future bass category, they'd all kind of be in the same crate together. So it uses a riff first from one of my old songs, Button. I've snuck this lick into so many songs of mine. That dun 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 dun. I use that all the time. It's very cute. And then over here, I'm referencing Floating on Clouds. In the vocal drop section, have you tried making the chords maybe a bit more to contrast the vocals? I think they sound pretty okay. I see what you mean though. They are kind of like they're kind of on the same level as the vocal. I like the I mean, too late for that. The song has been out for like a year. that is a good tip for future songs though. They do kind of sit within the same space, so I do see what you mean. Um, yeah, that's about it for With You. I guess I can play maybe not the full track, but I'll play the second half of it. There is With You, which I released a while ago. That one's out on Spotify. Thank you for the suggestion, Matthew William, for breaking down this one. I don't know what other songs I could do. I'm getting a little hungry. I gotta go eat dinner at some point, and I've been streaming for a few hours. But I feel like I should do one more. Maybe not a full breakdown, but maybe I can just show off kind of some of the stuff I've been working on. Let's do that. I have an album hopefully coming this year, which is what I said last year, but then I was like, hey, I'm going to make the album 24 tracks, because I guess I hate myself. So I've been working on this album for a few years now. What's a cool project I can check out? I have an electro swing project file, which kind of has a funny story, because originally I was going to make this song so that my girlfriend could do vocals on it. But ADHD moment, I just ended up completing the whole song, and now it's not exactly in a state that it needs vocals. So I think when I do vocal collaborations in the future, I just need to get the vocals first and then write the song based off of them, instead of writing a song and then trying to shove vocals in them. So yeah, this is a song off of the album that's kind of based around Chamelea's, I think it's called, it translates to Beatbox 76. Beatbox 76, that's what it is. And it's a song, and the lore behind it is it's based off of this radio station, that's like apparently like from Soviet era Russia, and it's been like just transmitting beep, 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 beep. It's just been like transmitting this like some kind of signal. I don't remember what it is, but it's just been transmitting this for like decades. And there's like streams of it that you can find on YouTube that's really interesting. And people, they get close with their I don't know, ham radios. I don't know really that much about radios, but they're like, they intercept the signal and they send like other data through it. So then sometimes you'll see people like drawing pictures with the spectrograms and stuff, which I think is really funny. Anyways, Chameleon made a song that was themed around that. And that's what inspired this song, where it's kind of electro swing combined with hard bass, which is pretty neat. So let's check that out. Oh, it is killing my my CPU. Thank you for the melodic vibrato tips. I cannot speak. Thanks for the melodic vibrato tips earlier. I learned something new. Glad I could help. Okay, this track is a little bit laggy, so I might have to play the rendered version of it instead. Let's do that. I might do my master chain. I think it's my master chain. Absolute cat jammer right here. This is fun. Why is this export of it so much longer? Strange. There must be... Is this the wrong project file? Possibly? Unless I was working on a backup version of it. Oh no. Strange. Oh, it's probably because of the tempo. I figured it out. It's because of the tempo tempo automations. Man, I don't even know where to start with this one. I'm pretty sure I started it when I first made the song. I started with this section. I freaking love electro swing so much. Oh, it goes so hard. Yeah, so I guess our main segment here that kind of defines the song is this bass. It's just it's so groovy. It's like a slap bass line, but put on different like electronic instruments. We got our sub bass. Pretty standard sub bass, although it kind of plucks a little bit. We're using noise, the same trick as I showed in the other songs, and we're distorting it to bring out the harmonics that our non-subwoofery speakers can produce. We got a thick guy right here, which is a saw bass that plucks down again. It's really simple. It's just a just a saw pluck with a filter. I mean, that's the thing about electro swing is generally the sound design. It's pretty simple. Another bass layer. There we got an upright bass. That's just one of the default upright basses from the Essential Bass Guitars pack and Flex. It's pretty quiet here. It just kind of brings out, I don't know. It has the little string pluck sound. It's pretty nice. Phase Plant. This is a Camellia preset. He just remade the donk bass, the classic hard bass kind of donk. So that's how I have taken this electro swing and made it hard bass, is literally just by adding the donk bass. And it also kind of adds a little like thing on the offbeat, because that's the thing about jazz. I am actually a jazz pianist, for those of you who don't know. And a big part of jazz is just kind of feeling stuff on the offbeat. Like, just from its roots, originally jazz, like drumming, was based around marching band, like marching snare, um, which I think is pretty interesting. So it used to just be like you'd have like your big bass drum and maybe a little hi hat, and you're going boom ting boom ting boom ting boom ting, and then you got like your snare doing the dick dick doo dick dick doo dick dick doo kind of like rhythms, and over time that evolved. And in modern jazz, I guess not modern jazz, but like in most like standard jazz, the main thing that drives the song isn't actually like how it is in a lot of music where it's like where it's like the kick and the snare that drive it. It's the kick and the hi-hat, and then the snare kind of does its own thing and like accents the rhythms. um so a big part of like jazz drumming is just getting that like kick hat kick hat kick hat, and it's that like it's the upbeats that you kind of feel more, which is something super cool that I think hit my mic, that adding the little donk bass there helps emphasize a little bit more. And it kind of works out because in a lot of like electro swing and house music, the open hi-hat on the offbeat is already part of the genre, so it fuses pretty well. A lot of the stuff that like gives this track its character is these samples. I just went on Splice and I just downloaded every single horn hit and fall and whatnot that I could find, which is really cool. They add a lot to the song. Like, without them, it's just like it's kind of boring. And our chord hits, normally we use something like a super saw, but in this case, we're literally using a little saxophone hit. A few saxophone hits. Saxophones really are the super saws of the jazz world. Sounds pretty cool. Very dark bass line. It's in C minor, which means jazz moment. We can use our blues scale, which my mic is probably not picking up. But yeah, that's pretty neat. And then as we build up into our next section, we're using this saxophone sample that I just found on Splice. Up. Which is pretty cute. And then we got a piano doing this big like spy chord. Ooh, I'm like 007 or some shit. I don't know. Very cool. Establishes the vibe. Where is that loop with the... Yeah, there we go. I gotta... I don't know where the sample is at. There it is. Oh, it's such a vibe. I love that kind of like tom drum, like, I don't know, it's just like a vibe. That's kind of the thing is, as I was saying, how marching band music, or how jazz music was initially kind of meant for marching instrumentation. Originally, those were on the snare, and over time, as it evolved and drum kits evolved, it ended up on the tom, and like the ride cymbal. You also see a lot, the ding 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 kind of thing. If I'm making any sense, yeah. It grooves. It makes you wanna. It makes you wanna schmoove. You know. Yeah. It's our build up. We just kind of get right into it. I added this little descending line that is not on the beat at all. If I were to like write this out on sheet music, it would be some kind of weird tuplet. But that's okay, because you feel jazz. You don't have to read jazz. Tenor sax. Sounds a bit goofy on its own, but in the context of it, it sounds good. A piano with isotope vinyl on it to make it sound like it's old and retro, like jazz music. And the jazz, the high quality jazz kit, we are hitting basically every single drum in time with what the sax is doing. That's a really fun thing to do in songs because a lot of like EDM, a lot of it is based around like looping, repeating rhythmic elements, but sometimes it can be kind of fun to just have every single element in your song kind of follow the same rhythmic or melodic like thing. It just makes it sound a lot more cohesive. It adds a lot more character. And then we don't go right into our drop. We do a fake out and build up into it. Grooves. Oh my goodness. I did basically the entire song in one pattern. Probably a bad habit that I need to break. What can we check out? Check out our pianos. There's one of my pianos. We got a very, very squashed with OTT piano with the very low release time, which kind of makes it kind of choppy and it sounds really neat. And it contrasts a lot to just our normal piano. It's just outlining our chords. There's our melody, and we are using the C minor blues scale, or the C blues scale. It's basically like a minor scale. But we add a little chromatic thing to it, so it's more like, wait, and that's like 90% of jazz improvisation right there. It's just understanding the blues scale. It's very easy to learn, and once you learn it, you're on your way to basically, just being able to improvise over anything if you know that the key. Like, oh, this song's in C. Well, I can use the C blues scale. Like, there you go. So I wrote this melody. It's kind of generic. It's very electro swing-ish. Our layers, electro swing is all about combining electro elements with swing elements. Go figure. So I have this saw lead, and then we got some saxophones. And to emulate kind of like a sax section that would be in like a real swing band, we have one main one that's kind of playing our melody, and then these two are harmonizing. Yeah, the MIDI saxophones sound kind of goofy, but once they're all playing together, it's a vibe. We got our exact same bass as before. Oh god, but not like that. Doesn't sound like that. Exact same bass as before. Except now we go up to the 4 chord here. It kind of follows a like, not really a blues pattern, but just kind of a really general chord progression thing. Of just going up from the 1 to the 4. Yeah. Pretty simple chord progression there. It's really the melody and the writing there and the instrumentation that makes it sound cool. For the impact, usually you would use like just like a white noise sweep, which I do have here. But also I have some other cool sounds. Like we got Why can I not hear them? Oh, that would be why. That one's sick. All these just little brass hits that kind of make it sound a little bit more lively. This one's called True Clown. That one clips a little bit. Ugh. Still sounds cool. I don't know, what's in our drums? Let's find out. There's a lot of drum layers here. Lots of drum layers going on. Obviously, we just got our standard kick hat snare pattern. I like that. This is something that I do a lot, is using a reversed clap to kind of to build up us into our next clap. That was a sentence. What's that? Which is something, ironically, that I picked up from Party Rock Anthem by LMFAO. They use that in that song a lot. And I'm sure it's just a general kind of house music thing. Our main thing that's keeping it swung is our high-quality jazz kit on FPC again, playing some cool cymbal sounds. Because it's swung, we're basically doing simple triplet swing, where normally, if you were counting, it would just be like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But if you were counting it in triplets, it'd be like 1 let 2 let 3 let 4 let, and it depends on the song, but you can get a basic swing pattern by basically doing the first and last triplet. So if I set this to 1/3 a beat, you can see that these hit kind of on a, right? Like, it's just ding ticka ding ticka ding ticka ding. Yeah. And like I mentioned, our pedal hi-hat on the 2 and 4 instead of the snare. Even if I wanted it to be more vintage, I can move it down to the snare. And that's also something you see in some older jazz now, whereas modern jazz uses a lot more ride cymbal. Yeah, so those are drums. We got a little chant here. It's a little bit strange, this project file. We have a vinyl loop going out throughout the entire song. Oh, where's this ride at? Track 51. That's a cool sound. We do a backspin, just like a sample, into a tape stop on the whole sidechain channel, and it's almost like a record stopping sound. It sounds really neat. Yeah, I'd say I covered the melody, the bass, the drums. That's about all there is. That's about all there is for that section. Oh, this part's funny. Okay, so in the melody, I realized this after I'd already written it, but I accidentally ripped off Death by Glamour by Toby Fox. Right? So that's from Death by Glamour by Toby Fox, and I didn't realize that I had accidentally written it until I had finished, and then someone was like, hey, that kind of sounds like Death by Glamour. So I added Metaton's "Oh Yes" sound effect in the background, just because I thought it would be funny. Hear it back there. Yeah, and to transition us back into our thing, we have this descending piano line. Bum 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 bum, which is pretty neat. Kind of into our bass. This part's kind of funny because it's literally just like it's just like the same drum loop. It's like a drum solo. I'm a big fan of ridiculously long drum solos. I forget who recorded it, but there's this one recording of Night in Tunisia by Art Blakely and the Jazz Messengers. And this recording of A Night in Tunisia has like a crazy like 7-minute drum solo, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so awesome. It's just so rhythmic. It's very creative. And I kind of wanted to work something like that into this, so I mean, this is just like a tom loop, and then I put some other layers on top of it, but okay. This part is really stupid. I added the ba-dum, but it's off. It's not even on the grid in any way, shape, or form. I had to add a time signature change. Yeah, it's not on the beat at all. I just wanted to have like a fermata there, like how it would be notated in normal music, but obviously because I'm in a DAW, I can't really have a hold that ends until the conductor dismisses it. So I just, you know, I just added a time signature change, and it's fine. Although that does produce for this very cursed grid here. Okay, so now we go back to our little hard bass kind of thing, but now we have a little piano solo going on. Best thing about piano for jazz solos is you can... I have a bad habit of only using my right hand to solo on piano and not really outlining the chords because I mostly play synths. But with a piano where it's polyphonic and you can play all these different notes, it's really nice because you can accompaniment. What's the word? Accompaniment? You can accompany yourself by outlining the chords. So that's what I did here. I did not play this. I sequenced it in, but yeah. So there's our little piano solo. I love these hits. Sounds so cool. That's all that's going on there. Then we got a sax solo. Not much has changed. Now we're using only the upright bass. Very vintage kind of feel there. And we're switching from our standard electronic kick to an acoustic jazz kick. Or I guess not really, that's not meant for jazz, but, you know. I just kind of spliced together a bunch of splice samples. This part's cool. Okay. And this is where my computer starts to lag because we got a bunch of tempo automation going on here. Yeah, so here we are building up. Lots of tension. And then we build up, and this goes into our hard bass section. And we're using this lead, which is filtered out currently. It's lagging my computer a little bit because it's a reasonably unison heavy patch, I suppose, but where is it? Let me turn off the filters. Oh, where is the filter at? It's on the leads, I think. There it is. Okay. So this is a pretty cool patch. It's a super square, so we have a bunch of unison square waves, and then I'm literally modulating the octave, so it's basically just going like, but it's doing it with an LFO, and then I'm downsampling it, so it sounds kind of like Game Boy-y and technology. Then we just have a supersaw here, or no, this is a, let's see, detuned hardcore lead, which is basically just a supersaw. Oh, that's a Camellia preset. What is this one? Geometry Dash ass sound right there. Lags my computer a lot, but yeah, we're building up. And then we go. It's lagging my computer so much. Let's play the rendered out version of it. So that's around here. Yeah, so we go full hard bass mode at the end. We've been kind of electro swinging it all over the place, but right when we get to this last section of the song, we turn it into full hard bass mode. Giant kick, a little ARP in the background. Very cool. Well, much larger kick this time. I don't know why that's like that. It's like slightly off. I think it's supposed to be like that because it's like, you know? It's kind of like double time. That is strange though. I guess it works with the yeah. So there's our piano once again. Low tail piano. And then this sound, I like to call it the Portal sound because it kind of sounds like something you'd hear in like Portal 2 or like Half-Life 2. Where is it at? Yeah. So that's literally just some sine waves. And we're just we're using some FM to make it like talk a little bit. It's going wow. I don't know. It sounds like something from the Portal soundtrack, and I really like that, so I used it. Then we get our flat in there. Let me turn into this like techno thing. So we got, yeah, huge reverb kick. Oh, I love techno kicks so much. They're just so large. It's not that fast though. What would it sound like if it was that fast? Where's my 400 BPM one? Somewhere in there. I kind of like that. I might keep it at that tempo. Yeah, so we ended off with this giant techno thing. I really like that. got distracted by the kick. Pretty neat. Not much has changed there, but the reverb kick. We get so very techno with it. And then we end it with this really loud brass hit. And there it is. There is the end of Ferromagnetic Circus Adventure in the fictional country of Czechoslovakia. That was 2 very high energy songs and 1 very chill song that we just broke down there. I think that's gonna about do it for the stream. Project file downloads will be linked in the Discord for any channel members, so you can be on the lookout for those. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that maybe you learned something or just enjoyed seeing the inner workings of some of my songs. Yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.